this and trying what our role can be in promoting some of the opportunities or uses of like the Clean Water and Natural Lands Fund, or interaction with Liz and her team when these rules are published with the agricultural community that Alex and then Jason from CCSR interact with. And so when Kyle talks about what could be the city's role or what should be government's role, if this commission thinking about economic revitalization wants to support these roles and the development of agriculture as a viable part of economic diversification, what could or what should we be doing? So thank you, Kayala, who's the administrator of the fund.
Yes, we kind of oversee the Clean Water and Natural Lands program. And to your point, Amy, Bianca too is something that is Bianca is our agricultural research policy fellow. She's a law student right now at Pace University in White Plains, New York. Right now you're focused on agricultural land use policy, and this is the first time that our program, in collaboration with OER, has been able to fund a fellowship specifically dedicated to this purpose of agricultural research and policy, to really advance the city's ability to fulfill the purposes of programs that you're running for agriculture. And also, as you've seen, many of the sites have this nexus to agricultural preservation, agricultural purposes. So if there's any way to move that forward, this is kind of the first step that we're taking, to not only collaborate with other city departments, but to be able to move and evolve the program to better address some of the needs that Go Farm and farmers here are in desperate need of, especially with land and acquisition.
You didn't get to introduce your other colleague.
Yeah, so this is Tam Nguyen. She's just started in like the first of this month. The two parts of our program, right? A big part of it is acquisitions and stewardship. So to be able to have those in environmental law and then those in natural resource environmental management, those two go hand in hand in our program. And we're looking to bring, expert, students from, graduates of the environmental law program, graduates of NREM into this program to be able to fulfill the purposes of the plan. So Tam really is here to help with acquisitions, and program 3 is really on stewardship.
I had a question for Kyle. So 3% of your folks are on state Canada.
Yeah.
Are you guys an applicant? Is this a source of getting?
No. I've talked to Turtle Bay. So if you and who's after the manager there, trying to see if we can get some leases for our farmers. No, I mean what they're talking about is they're not talking about leasing. I'm not hearing anything about leasing land to farmers or selling land to farmers.
So you can qualify to buy a big tract of land and then sell it to farmers in the program?
Yeah, potentially, because I mean we lease land now. And we sublease it to our incubators. I mean, so kind of. I could go buy land. I could go buy a tract of land and maybe approach these folks about selling the conservation easement to it, which could then lower the value of the land, and hopefully lower the lease prices.
I will mention that the purpose of the Clean Water Fund by charter is we have the ability to acquire real estate interest, qualified real estate interest there. So conservation easements are a form of a real estate interest. There are other forms of real estate interest that applicants can apply to the fund for. It hasn't been explored to date, but leases, right, are a real estate interest. That could be something that applicants could apply to funding, to apply to
For land access.
yeah, exactly, access to land for agricultural purposes. It hasn't been done, but real estate interest there, just any kind of real estate interest.
Did that chapter 38 issue apply to you guys as well?
Good question. I don't have the answer to that right now.
I would be curious to know, because I'll work with it.
Yeah,
Not, I mean, I would guess not, maybe, but then again, because the clean water and natural lands want to set up under its own rules, so. I don't,
yeah, I'd have to look into that a little bit more. And unfortunately, I think Kat just dropped off. She had to attend a different meeting and I know she's working on chapter 38.
I'm gonna see if the commissioners online have any questions. Deb and Olu, did you have any questions?
One thing that I'll add to the conversation, based on kind of how it went, a lot of the time when I'm encountering ag land, it's when people are putting farm dwellings on that land, and just to kind of give you a sense of how we try to limit prospecting, land prospecting, is, all of the agricultural, all of the farm dwelling, and it's, everything related to it has to be within a 5,000 square foot footprint. So your carport, your gazebo, your swimming pool, everything has to be within 5,000 square feet. So that, and it can't be spread out, it has to be consolidated within one part of the lot. The other thing that we do is in the Ag 2 district, you're limited to, you can only have one farm dwelling for every 2 acres, and you're limited to 2 by right. And in the Ag 1 districts, you can only have one farm dwelling for every 5 acres, and again, you're limited to 2. You can have more farm dwellings through a couple of other options. There are agricultural clusters, there are agricultural site plans, and there are agricultural subdivisions. All of those go through a land use process, and the idea, the classical idea is you can consolidate all of your infrastructure to support all of the farm dwellings close to the road, and then every farm dwelling has an associated ag lot. Sometimes that's how it has been, sometimes it's not, but a lot of those are very complicated because all of those landowners or prospective landowners need to work together, and infrastructure is so expensive just to lay down roads, electricity, individual wastewater systems or sewer, all of it is just, you know, prohibitively expensive. So we have repeatedly over decades tried to create these sort of land use options to allow people to build a bunch of houses and then have a whole bunch of ag so that all of those farmers can more cheaply live near their area. But of course, you know, a lot of people are building nice houses as opposed to like, you know, little simple houses. Which I think is- So those are just some of the things that we've attempted to do to chip away at the problem of not only how expensive it is to farm and not only how low your salary might be if you're a farmer, but also then to have affordable housing or at least housing options without allowing somebody to just come in and build like a subdivision and sell it off.
Are we asking them to stay?
it's up to you guys. We're gonna move on.
Oh, you're moving.
Oh, we are.
Okay, I'm gonna run away then. Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hires are helpful.
We
So I hired him to do
want
planning
to
and.
put it in maybe.
You want to come there, so I should come have it there. So I sold or something.
When he was working there.
Yeah,
That was a long time.
long time.
Great to see you.
Found them on Craigslist.
Good day.
you.
Nice, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Great. So now it's Dave's turn to get the EP report.
Okay.
First
And
Alyssa.
Alyssa.
And Alyssa.
Planning meeting, while you guys were.
Please eat, please eat. So first, I wanted to mention, Reed's, new status.
I was gonna tell you guys about that.
But, go ahead.
Oh, so, my family and I are departing in September, we're moving to California. Yeah. So I was able to, get a really great job opportunity up there. I am currently, I started in April, the chief operating officer for Ultimate Federal Credit Union. So it's a big, step up for me, but then also allows our family to live someplace else for a little while. So I think the plan right now is for us to move up there for a handful of years and see how it goes, and then the intent is to come back at some point, but I think this is an opportunity that turned out. So we went through the process of making this decision in March and April. I accepted the job in April and started, a couple weeks later. And then got caught up in all this stuff. I was trying to help you with Boy USA on the way out, and then one of the things that I think partially because I didn't want to, I was hoping that Amy could just keep me on remotely. But I haven't quit anything that I've been involved in, so this would be the first thing that I'm gonna step down from, I guess. So it makes me really sad because I did enjoy my time here, and I do find like all this stuff is really interesting. And I just wish I could have contributed more, but hopefully if I come back, you can start that.
Yes. Reed, when is your official move date?
I just bought the tickets yesterday. We're leaving the island on September 4th.
Where are you going to?
So, have you guys heard of Ridgecrest, California?
Yes.
Oh,
How
okay.
is that?
So Ridgecrest, California is in the middle of the Mojave Desert. It's a town that's built around the naval weapons base there. And the credit union was founded off of the weapons base. So I took the job there. It's based in Ridgecrest, but the credit union has branches from as up north as like Mammoth, all the way down to Bakersfield, and then into like California City and Florida. So it's a pretty large vicinity we have to cover. We're moving to a town called Tehachapi, which is about 40 minutes east of Bakersfield. Have you heard of it? Oh, you've been there?
Yeah.
We went,
It's really cute.
yeah, they took us on a recruitment trip in March. And I think they did this on purpose with the timing. They saved that town for last. And the realtor took us up there and it was snowing. And I sort of got it looked like a Hallmark movie, like these cobblestone streets and snow and, all these little shops. And my wife like fell in love with it. She's like, we're looking here. I was like, okay, guess we're coming then.
Wow.
So we're gonna live there. So we have a house and everything. All our stuff's in Bakersfield waiting for us.
Greg, you missed the big news.
Yeah. You're gonna have to watch the recording.
Yeah.
Are we done?
No. No, I'm gonna resign. I'm moving to California.
Reed,
Oh,
this
is
is
that
Debbie.
right?
Oh.
No. Yeah. But you can come in remotely.
Probably not, but,
Well, we got a bunch up there now.
Reed, you've done a huge job with it. We're so grateful to have had you. Thank you
That's
very
nice.
much, especially with all your help with the grant program. Oh my gosh.
wish I could do more, but like I said, when we come back, I would
Yeah.
love to, when Amy's governor, I'd love to hit her up.
Where are you moving?
I took a job in California. Gonna be the chief operating officer in Baltimore.
Good job.
Yeah,
So we're really excited for Reed, but he's just, I mean, you have made a difference. And Alyssa can tell you what it's meant.
well, yeah, I'm excited to hear
To
that.
people. And you were also the one that said, let's put your commission money towards doing this project. Why are we waiting for someone else to step up? And I just so sincerely appreciate that, because that's the kind of the model and what we want you guys to, feel like you have the power to do. And so it's been wonderful having you, and we appreciate what you've done with us to this point on this very new commission. So thank you.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, I hope he'll switch his voter registration to California. That's like one of the key things, to be a commission member in the city and county of Honolulu. So that's why
Yeah.
can't keep Reed, because he's gonna be a good citizen, stay a voter where he lives.
That's too bad.
Okay, but other than that, moving on, I'm gonna save, we have 3 priorities that the commission established for who we are this year.
We say goodbye, or we like prohibited by sunshine?
I think you could get together for a social, but we'll look at the rules, which would be really fun.
If there's in separate rooms, I can only speak with you at a time.
Does it relay in between?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna let Greg speak to this, our long-held desire for a procurement preference for local small business, but my one update is Alyssa and I met with Carrie Shibuya. She is a small business procurement coordinator, very new to the state procurement office. She reached out to our office to start exploring their process to write new rules to privilege small businesses in terms of the state procurement guidelines. And we gave her some feedback, and one of the main things was, we would love to be a liaison with small businesses as you develop these rules and as you're looking for information feedback. But when they develop those, or as they develop those rules, that will also create an opportunity for the city and county. So that is something I hope that Greg and the PIG can jump into and maybe continue the conversation that Alyssa and I started with Carrie. Secondly, I will leave this second update to Alyssa. And the third update, which Eliza has been talking to me about, is that I'll save it for a couple slides later too. Anyway, sorry, moving on. I wanted to talk about our first and most exciting for the next slide. This is our most exciting news, and just what I'm really super proud of Alex and other team members who supported her to put forward the project to the Bloomberg Mayor's Global Challenge, which we talked about earlier this year. It is in the area of sustainable agriculture and food systems. And she put forward a proposal, I'm going to get the name wrong, food security in the Iwile Kapalama Transit Oriented Development District. Yeah. And so of 630 cities internationally that applied, Honolulu is one of 50. As you can see, all the little dots there. If you go to the Bloomberg Global Challenge website, you can click on all of those links, and it tells you what the projects are that the semifinal cities proposed. Alex, unfortunately, I don't know why she did this. She decided to have a baby, right? When the idea camp that Bloomberg is hosting is putting on. It's in Bogota, Colombia, but what Bloomberg loves about this proposal is that it's collaborative across multiple city departments. I count 6. DPP, not necessarily Liz, but other folks from DPP who work on those transit-oriented development plans. Tim Strikes will be involved. Our coalition going to Bogota later this month includes Renee Espiau, who is the head of our Complete Streets program, as well as Kealoha Fox, our deputy director at the Office of Climate Change, Sustainability, and Resiliency. Additionally, Amanda Shaw, who is the state food systems coordinator at the Department of Ag. And then our working group is going to grow and expand to include the Department of Housing and Land Management, potentially Gavin, who just moved over as their housing policy director, and others. The Department of Parks and Recreation, their community gardens folks. Getting other departments, the managing director's office, and of course, the mayor has to be engaged. So he has met with a chunk of these 50 mayors that supported these proposals. And we hope to be, by the end of this year, acknowledged as one of the 25 finalists and receive $1 million to pursue this proposal forward for the next 2 years. get potentially 2 staff, as well as 2 years of coaching and consulting support to see this through, because what they want is not only a prototype from this phase 1, but they want to see how this kind of city service could be expanded around the world. And the words escape me right now, but the participants come from Ansan to Addis Ababa, from Toronto to Taipei. And so it's gonna be really, really interesting to join these folks and to get the support of the Bloomberg Global Winners Challenge team as we further develop it. And so just so proud of Alex and everyone in the office who contributed to this innovation. So the next one is Alyssa.
Great, thanks. I'll keep it brief, but yeah, we're really excited. We launched Idea to Biz. We're about a month in now. Today actually marks the month. We had 20 participants selected from 110 applications. Business ideas really vary from roll-off dumpster, somebody who wants to do local leather products, incorporating lay into the design. So really just a diverse group of business ideas in the group. So module 1 is complete, and that was introduction to entrepreneurship. Where they really just talked about like really core basic things of what it means to be an entrepreneur, from setting SMART goals and time management to thinking of themselves as an entrepreneur and telling their friends and family what their business is and calling themselves an entrepreneur. And right now we're in the middle of module 2, which is business registration, legal entity. We were really fortunate to have Greg join us last time and talk a little bit about trademarks and business names and the importance of it, selecting a unique business name. So thank you for letting them pepper you with questions at the end. I think it was really helpful. But today they'll really be walking through like the business registration process, what the different implications are of selecting a legal entity type. And then if they're ready to go ahead and push submit today, we will also have staff there, Amber and Dom will be there to help them actually register their business, and we'll take care of that. And if they want to do their GET as well today, we'll be ready to do that. If they're not ready though today, that's okay. We'll figure out how else we can do that later in the program. And then we're also working on developing the post-program support. So Dom has been putting together what that'll look like, whether it's connecting the participants to each other. They've already, one of our resource connectors has started to create potentially like a little like cohort within the cohort of the businesses who want to be connected to each other. They've already started going to other resource partner activities and events, going to NPC's Palm on a Friday, coming to our small business connection workshops at Kapolei Hale, but really wanting that post-program support to continue. So looking at what that year-long timeline looks like of a monthly touch point for them to get continuing education, but also connection to each other. So yeah, any questions?
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Where are the classes? So can I drop in on
Yeah.
class and just?
Yeah,
Sure.
absolutely. They're not a
Bit of a
coolie.
drive.
Yeah, it is a little bit, but it's the beginning of not a coolie, so if you just make it past the H1, you'll be there
Yeah.
almost. The Kalani Ho'oka'a Community Learning Center, it's a Kamehameha Schools property. They were gracious enough to let us use the space for free in exchange for some data. So really grateful that then it helps us stretch the program budget a little bit further, for post-program support as well.
So what nights?
Every Tuesday night, yep, 5:30 to 8:30.
Okay.
The beginning portion is really the workshop learning time. Second portion is co-working time. And that portion is optional, so they can stay and implement any of the lessons they're learning. But if they need to head out for dinner or whatever other personal obligations they might have, they can.
And I'm signing up tonight.
Yeah, we'll see you tonight. And so, yeah, but because of the priors, if you want to join hybrid,
What?
the fires and not a cooling.
Oh, but you still have it.
Yeah, we're still having it. Yeah, so excited, but we can touch base.
Thanks, Greg. I like going to mines.
And they have a lot more questions, so I hope you're ready to answer
There's
them
the road stuff,
today.
And then there's the street stuff.
Yeah,
But then
Like-
you have access to Greg is huge.
It's fun. They had good questions and I gave them honest answers. Like, just go, man. Don't think about this too much. That's what an entrepreneur is.
Yeah.
Can't solve everything.
There's a love card at mom's that says, I love you so much, I will drive the each one, West Valley.
Yeah.
But I have two takeaways. Well, first of all, I think serving the west side is great. There's no, like we talked about filling gaps, you know. Like I noticed Patsy Mink's doing the teaching, which is kind of interesting because they have their own co-working, but then it's a different part of town, right? So,
It's it's 6 different resource partners that we work with.
yeah.
So we pay them and
No, I
give
know.
them the
I
opportunity.
figured they're getting paid, but,
Yeah.
because I know Noella really well.
Yeah.
From stuff we do with Patsy Mink. But the second thing I, realized was, how lucky we are that Honolulu still exists. Because development has not taken it over. So we have regular people living in a beautiful part of the state. I mean, I don't think we think of it that way usually. But not in other ways, but hey, you know, although Kamehameha built a really nice shopping center there, so what's going on here?
It's DHHL. That is.
Not Kamehameha Schools,
DHHL.
oh, okay. So they just own the learning center, but they don't own the shopping center.
Correct.
Okay, but anyway, you know, hopefully that won't spread too much, because I like the way it is. It's regular people that live across the beach. That doesn't happen in Kahala. So,
Beaches in the state, they're in that coast. It's not-
yeah, but, I forgot my third, so it'll come back to me later, but anyway, happy to help.
So those 20 participants, they all are full-time employees somewhere. What is the demographic?
That's a good question. We did do a baseline survey of all the participants in terms of income level, education level, employment status. Truthfully, I haven't looked through all of the baseline, yet, but most of them are employed full-time. I do know like there's a couple of stay-at-home parents in the group and things like that. But yeah, I think a range, some of them are also related to each other. There's 2 sisters in the class that, I mean, had no idea when we selected them, so, yeah, so it's been great.
And then what do we do with the other 80 some odd participants that didn't make it? Like, how do we keep them engaged?
That's a good question. We did send out, so sorry that you didn't make it, but here are other resources. Here is a connection to our outreach team. They are still here to help support you. There are other things for startups. And some of the people who applied weren't startups. They were fully in business, making a decent revenue. But whatever stage of entrepreneurship you're at, we do have a team here to help support you and get you connected to resources. So just because you didn't make it into the cohort doesn't mean that there isn't support out there.
And what are we doing to like market this, like advertise that we're doing this, like, right? Aside from the internal postings and emails and stuff, I haven't seen anything like media wise. Are we?
Yeah, our comms team did a fantastic job. A lot of news media.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. then
No,
I
worries
wonder
at all.
along in California.
Yeah, no worries at all. It was news media. We did, Councilmember Tolba's radio show, several news spots. They had paid promotional spots. LinkedIn,
Instagram.
yeah,
TV.
yeah, KHON.
We did say social media.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
so,
awesome.
like, and then our partners were sharing it, so, yeah, and most of the folks heard about it. Some of it was word of mouth too, asking applicants how they heard about it. Most was through media, news or whatnot, but, lots of word of mouth too.
Yeah, I just gotta say this is awesome because in all my years of banking, this is like a big gap. People would come to the bank and say, help me start a business. There's only so much you can do, right? But I mean, Mel's not here, but these cohorts don't exist to help the true startup. Right, after a while, you have to hit a certain income level to be able to get the kind of support to be able to expand your business. So I'm really happy and proud that you guys are doing this. It's awesome.
Thank you. And we really appreciate your support and Hawaii USA, and that it's not just that, graduation initial influx of capital, it's that they're also wanting to continue to help support their business growth and identifying other opportunities too to help these businesses thrive. So
Yeah, I'm glad they followed through. It's a win-win for them to be able to help us go through their life cycle.
So are we having like a graduation ceremony?
yeah, September 13th, mark your calendars. Time is still TBD, and what it's going to look like is still kind of in the works, but yeah, I want to be able to highlight the businesses, also continue like the connection, connect them to you folks, connect them to community schools and a bunch of other folks who are really interested in seeing them succeed and thrive.
That sounds awesome. That is awesome. What percentage are?
I don't, the 2018.
That's the right direction.
Yeah.
That's one of the things we learned, right? That big gap.
Yeah.
Was that
was
by
one bad.
Yeah, so we have had one participant has dropped out, he had work commitments that he couldn't make it to, so.
One business that makes like, she's like cowboy boots.
Yeah.
Like a lot.
Yeah,
like,
leather and
it's
leg.
super-
Yeah,
Very cool.
yeah, she's super excited. She had a bunch of questions about naming her business and if she calls it leather and lay or leather and lays, is that enough differentiation? So, yeah, she's great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for driving all the way out there.
I live on the west side, so.
We get to go home.
Yeah.
So we're just super excited. That is a picture from which,
The first one,
the first one.
yeah, the kickoff.
Yesterday, Aloha State Daily published a story on it. They're a new news organization. They came out and sat through the cohort. It's still in my window to read, but,
It's really good.
okay, great. I love you all to read it too. We feel like a lot of times the media's, obsession with government is to get you or gotcha or say what your government is doing wrong, but this is just really wonderful for them to actually help promote what you guys have, helped us to prioritize and help to make a reality with the funding from Hawaii USA to incentivize the participation and to give them that seed money when they finish up. So thank you, Alyssa, for all your hard work, Dom and the whole team, making it happen, Read with the connection, Greg getting out there. I encourage you guys to get out there. I was just like, I was gonna cry. Awesome, they're so committed. A lot of them have a social purpose. Their ideas came from their life experience, and so I really felt that. And Siobhan, Alyssa's old partner in the small business and finance area, who's working here, led our first sessions. She has a wonderful, very local way of bringing people together and helping them share their stories. So that was a wonderful way to kick it off. We have also got feedback from other city departments who want to see how they could work with us. One is the idea with Jordana at the Department of Community Services to work on a childcare cohort, helping them go from unlicensed to licensed. So we're excited about that possibility. The folks who run the Section 8 voucher housing program are really concerned with what's happening in DC, that a bunch of people may get housing vouchers and then suddenly lose them with the current administration's plan. So is there something we could do to help people with side hustles, or, let's brainstorm. Not to mention everything that you all may have as an idea. We really think this is a template and a pilot. It is not the end all be all of what we could do to help incubate and really bring forth the creativity and the innovation of our people on the side. So thank you all. Next slide. Chapter 38. Part of the team that was here is involved in that in the Department of Housing and Land Management. Is technically their bill, but thank you, Olin, Eliza, and Greg, as well as Tony, also submitted testimony. Nam Vu from Hub and Entrepreneur Sandbox, a co-working space, also submitted testimony and support. We've talked about this enough, but we haven't really had kind of a full hearing at the city council because of other budget issues to this point. The new fiscal year has started as of July 1. So we'll see the potential for the next hearing on a CB2 could be July 29th at 2:30 at the Executive Management Committee. So I will keep you all informed, and I can't tell you how important your testimony is to supporting this kind of new opportunity for OER going forward. So these you've seen many times. The slide didn't really change. The 1.118 million has a strike through it because Constancio, who runs our technology and innovation program area. We were told by the Trump administration, the 6 million coming to the state, which is focused on digital equity and internet infrastructure to rural areas is racist. So I just like, oh, can't believe it. I believe because they did a AI search and found the word equity in the name of this program, we, as every other state who had formula funding under this National Telecommunications Information Administration Program, funding was eliminated. So hopefully, at some point, someone will actually review what this program does. In the meantime, the state of Colorado is going to be lead on a lawsuit challenging the loss of this funding, and Hawaii State is planning to join that lawsuit. So I'd love to see that come back to us, but here's all the things that are out in the field that we're working on right now. Some of the folks in the room here are administrators of those programs. And then the final slide is we're just really lucky by the support that our team finds that come to us by partnerships with the Department of Housing and Land Management. Bianca actually sits with us because we were, I mean, to be honest, willing to take on the administrative burden of doing the paperwork to bring her into the city. And we love having her with us. She is a law school fellow and brings that expertise. And yet, hopefully we're adding to her, thinking about what is she gonna do with her life when she gets that JD and passes the bar. Maybe she'll come back to Hawaii, who knows? But Alex also got some extramural funding from the Hulupono initiative, and we're working on bringing in a food systems program specialist while she does baby care for some months. We've had and now lost our Yale grad student who worked with our community equity team. It's really wonderful to have her on board for a short time. And hopefully by the end of this month, we'll have our economic recovery core fellow back, a new one in this office. And the focus is on chapter 35, really building out that portfolio and that future for OER. And we're really excited about the expertise this potential fellow can bring. It expands upon the expertise and the skills that we already have in this office. So just really looking forward to that. And finally, last slide is our next meeting on September 23rd. I think right now it's at noon. Kanekoa, the head of Kako Ovivi, is in Europe. And it's been hard to pin down, but we're working on the logistics. And so we will have a community commission meeting out in Kaneohe at Kako Ovivi to kind of wrap up our investment of your time, energy, and thinking in land use, agriculture for economic diversification, and how this should fit into our economic development priorities in the country.
Maybe not to interrupt, but there's actually a site visit planned for this Friday. Amber just got the invite, 3 o'clock, if that's possible.
So you two are invited if you want to come and help us with the logistics. Okay.
If you guys wanna stay after and get a look. It is, we're right on the property too.
Okay.
I think somebody showed a live look, like there's less than 500 of those birds left, and there's some there at the farm that you'll see. Idle, it's just such a special.
Yeah. I think too, with all the agricultural education, we should maybe reserve some time next time to brainstorm what can. I'm always thinking of actions, not just learning. Like for me, it's what can be done to make it more profitable for the farm. That's to me the main thing. Because the other things are just, if it's profitable, people will work it out. But if it's not that profitable, you're gonna get outliers doing the farming, and then you're not really making as much progress. So we could brainstorm on that. I think Phil Barnes mentioned the government should support, right? So. Anyway, maybe there's templates in other places that where states provide support for farming. I don't know. It's kind of like procurement, right? We should look at other practices maybe, so. I guess we can each do that on our,
So that's a part of what we've been walking through.
Yeah.
Try to give you some ideas on city focused, not state focused, city focused opportunities. Where we can expand and for help, Alex and our team to further develop sustainable agriculture and food systems as our program area.
but I'm interested in the economics of it.
Yeah.
What can the city do then to make it profitable for farmers?
So we have a meeting in September, is the site, is it?
Yeah, and then November is our meeting where we'll be talking about working up a draft of a report. So maybe in September, we could put on the agenda, the pig and starting work on developing some of those ideas or now too.
So even the guy we visited, Indoor, said that his main issue is the rent. He'd like it to be free, but then landlords cannot do it for free. So then I think that's where government comes in to do things the market doesn't do. That's the job of government, in my mind. The market's doing it, you don't need to do it, so.
And that's related to the chapter 38.
Is some of that land, chapter property for farming?
That's why I was asking, you
Yeah.
know, is there a potential that, I mean, are they strict with the lease thing too, where they have to take the highest bid? for leases? Or would they get an exemption? with chapter 38? The
Oh, I
conservation group. Yeah. Because potentially, the conservation group that was here, potentially, they might be able to lease land to go farm at cheaper rates, right, than what they can do right now. If they.
So potentially that's what we could do through chapter 38 that wouldn't involve them at all.
Oh, we could skip them.
Yeah.
True.
So what chapter 38 would allow us to do is to, for the purposes of economic development, directly lease to a nonprofit entity, not a for-profit entity, a nonprofit entity, the use of city-owned property. So that means vacant land, it means vacant space in city-owned buildings, and it means whole buildings that we own, right, and are now acquiring, for example, in the whole EV transit-oriented development space.
It doesn't have to be market, right? Be from economic development.
We could do it for free.
Are some of those properties ag properties that within that?
There is currently no inventory. The inventory of city-owned properties is spread across many, many departments. So that's one of the first things that we need, as well as like feasibility studies on the areas, once we understand where they are. If it's right for economic development, what type of economic development, what type of project would suit that area and the people there in terms of economic development. So there's work to be done, but ag is definitely one of the uses. So it could be, it wouldn't just necessarily like, certainly ag park or food hub is in our minds. But it could also be like a farmer's market or a food incubation space or any number of things.
Okay, so anyway, that's just thinking about what to do next. But for the pig, this is a pig that just keeps on giving it, that's, you know, you guys never want it to go away. So we've had 3 pigs, well, actually 2.5 probably. So pig 1 was informed in 2024, and our report was dated September 9th, where we identified a benefit to having local procurement rules. Looking at other places, and so I think it's pretty clear that it can work. You know, it's worth looking at. Then pig 2 was reformed to look at, okay, well, what can we do? What are the obstacles to doing something? I basically did a legal review, and we just can't do it now under the state statute. There's no room, there's no exemption for local businesses to take the lower bidder. And it's, well, at best, it's vague, and governments aren't gonna do things much vague unless they're told, we're not gonna fire you if you do this. We'll take the heat, you know, I guess the mayor could say that if you wanted to, but anyway. And so with that, it really made me pause to think, you know, this is a tough road to really do something that's gonna be like a 10% local vendor discount. Because you're gonna have to go to the state, amend the statute, and you're gonna have to implement it with, well, what are we gonna offer? And then you have to make it happen. So I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's gonna take a lot of social capital to get that through. And right now, my sense is people aren't really necessarily focused on this. I'm not sure these city offices are really of a mindset that we want to give this to local, because they're just trying to do their jobs, you know, they're not really thinking like, you know, all in to get the contract, and he's from here, you know, but, so I think part of that's cultural and environmental, like, if the city were to say, we want to give these as much as possible to vendors, then those would be marching orders to do something. Even if we don't change the law, like, market it, let vendors know about this contract, you know, I mean, maybe even tell permit, you know, all things being equal, give it to the local person. If they're competitive, competent, the prices, I don't know what it would be, but short of a law change might be a first step. The other thing that I realized is that these commissions, including us, we're not really, a lot of us aren't here to do actual work, like heavy lifting work. Like, I did a lot of legal work up to now, but I'm probably not comment that I'm willing to do that. And that's unfair to expect everyone to do that much work. So I'm thinking realistically, what can the commission actually do? I think what we're good at is probably making recommendations and guiding policy. But to actually execute on it, it's a tough one. So I kind of came back to, we really should persuade the city council and the mayor that this is something worth pursuing. And can we get some resources put into this? Because commissioners have daytime jobs, and we're not gonna be able to do a lot to get it past the finish line. So I did draft a report for today, but I guess we can kick it over to next time since it wasn't published. But basically says that we should market what we have, educate people, see how many local vendors we can get to bid on contracts, assess that, and if we like that, successful, maybe we have more room to push for more drastic measures. So that's kind of the gist of it, but the committee didn't really have a chance to talk about it. So we can just punt until next time, maybe.
Yeah, and I don't know how the changes of the state will interact with what we're trying to do. Because from what you said yesterday, if the state changes their rules, their law, then we should change the county. right?
Yes.
So,
I didn't realize the state regulates the city. I thought they were autonomous, but the state statute applies to city governments all over the state, all counties. I'm like, well, I was sitting in the county, I think, hey, you can't tell me what to do, man. And when it has to do with, you know, buying stuff, but they can, I mean, it's in there.
So the state procurement office sets the rules that the county has to follow. Like you said, if the council says something else, it has to fit within
Yeah.
that guidance, but I think there is an opportunity, since the pig hasn't been disbanded, in terms of providing recommendation guidance or rationale that Carrie Shibuya at the state procurement office, this is her charge to develop guidelines and guidance to support more procurement directed towards small business. It is not necessarily local, because my understanding, you're a lawyer, is interstate commerce limits what a local government can do in terms of preferencing a certain domicile of a business.
At a point, but these things are in place all over the country, and they've been challenged in court, and they survived. So I would say there's a point at which it becomes a burden on interstate commerce, but to do some discounting for local bidders is not a problem, apparently.
So I would be happy if you are interested in meeting with Carrie to set up that meeting for the pig. And you could take it from there. So hopefully there could be something you could add from that to for the September meeting.
Would there be a benefit to providing her results of what we've learned so far? In written form? It's, you know,
I think I sent her the link. to
Multiple
the
reports.
2 reports that you
You saw those.
published.
Yeah, let's do that and at least have that meeting.
I don't have any other real new business, I just wanted to, kind of put it in the OER team's ear that, I do think there's a place, and I don't know what it is, but for us to think about how to support businesses during this fire situation. As we can see, it's just. So I think it's something maybe we should think about for next year, to commission as well, is how better support business, how can we help them have resources to be more resilient. It just looked like, I mean, I don't know, I only saw it from social media and the news yesterday, but it just looks very unorganized and chaotic. And I feel like there might be a place for us to help somewhere.
So we do have a $250,000 grant, 200 of it is from the EDA for small business disaster resiliency. Alyssa is leading that, and do you want to talk a little bit about?
Yeah, yeah, I mean, we are still in the procurement of it all to launch it, but we are actively working to expand OBC, that is another aspect where businesses can search for disaster preparedness, resilience resources. Also thinking about how businesses can connect to each other. And in the case of disaster, if I have a generator, you need refrigeration, whatever that needs to look like. And then right now, in preparation of launching that program, the outreach team is doing a disaster assessment survey in the community to understand where businesses need the most information on disaster preparedness. So talking to businesses and disasters across, whether it's a wildfire, the tsunami, another pandemic, cybersecurity, kind of whatever that looks like. So areas where they are wildfire prone, tsunami prone, asking them questions about their level of awareness and preparedness. And then some evergreen questions about like insurance, documentation, and inventory. So that when we do launch the program, we know the communities that are most unprepared to really focus some of the workshops and resources. But obviously it's state or island wide, but where we can focus more.
Motions to adjourn. Thanks, you guys. Thank you, you.
Sure. Maybe, well, Kyle and Liz sort of alluded that gentleman farms are a pretty massive problem, that it's causing the market to like overprice the